Hello, welcome to episode 2.
Here's our blanket, excellent.
Asymmetrical twin. Dropping and sinking.
Notice how
So just notice. Joining us for the second episode next week. Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Namaste Yoga. I'm here with Jennifer Hall. She's here with us from Cobourg, Ontario. She is the founder of
Body Balance Wellness.
Body Balance Wellness, and her website is yourbodybalance.ca. So definitely check her out if you live east of Toronto, out where Toronto hasn't quite spread to yet. Although I guess you're getting more Toronto people there?
Some of them still pretty much a
retirement community. Yeah. Our in-laws are actually very close to there in Port Hope. Yeah. Okay, so today we're doing the second class in a series of classes on the Ayurvedic Doshas, and we're starting with the most important constitution today, the Vata constitution. It's so funny because Vata literally means wind, and we have a lot of wind going on here today. So I guess it goes with our theme and it is perfect. The Vata constitution is the most important constitution because it controls the other two constitutions. It's the wind that creates the change with the Pitta, the fire. And you can think about how wind, air either creates more fire, it can put out a fire, and then also how wind creates change with water and earth for the kyphosis. So I'm going to get you to go ahead and rest back. And as you rest back, because vatas tend to easily get out of balance and they are associated with air, the most important thing for them is to be grounded. So as you rest back, think about sinking into the ground and let your breath release. Next several breaths, and as you listen to this, your breath really becomes slower. So the Vata constitution happens in the empty spaces of the body, the hollow organs and joints, the bone cavities. It's very prominent in the hips and the low back. And for those of us who practice yoga, it's pretty easy to understand that Vata is responsible for the life force and energy. If you think about air being the substance that we breathe, when we do yoga, we do something called pranayama, which is breath practice, and that prana is life force energy. So it's like chi or ki, depending on the tradition. So Vata is literally the life force. It's the energy that moves through the body and the mind. And Vata people are creative, they're enthusiastic, they're agile, responsive, and this allows them to achieve their goals in life when they're well balanced. The main physical site of Vata is the colon. So if you can imagine, if the body is really dried by air, then it's going to be challenging. When disturbed, they tend to get a little nervous and anxious, and they're prone to digestive disorders. But when they're balanced, as I said, they're creative, they're open-minded, they have a broad range of comprehension of a diverse range of topics. And they're quick to understand things, but they're also quick to forget things. So they learn easily, but they also forget what they learn rather quickly. And they're also excellent communicators. They have good energy. They're great coming out of the gates. But they run out of energy quickly. They have to restore their energy often because they get tired easily. If you can imagine that Vatas are connected to less to the earth and more and above water is air, then Vatas are sort of very spiritually inclined. a lot of time. So as you rest back and let all that wash over you, just become curious about how that might relate or not relate to you. Maybe how those qualities show up in your life, or maybe where they're missing in your life. Begin to create an intention around how this practice could best serve you, whether it be to balance your Vata constitution, which may be a little overstimulated or understimulated, but just see how it can best serve you in your life right now. And we're going to start on our backs today, so begin to just wiggle and stretch out a little bit. Vatas are really prone to stiffness, and they're prone to arthritis as they age, so it's really not as crucial for Vatas by really moving the spine today. So resting on your back, let's just start by first taking the arms straight overhead. And as you do this, just focus on lengthening the spine. The other thing is that because Vatas are so go, 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 our practice today is going to focus on slowing down and taking more time and not rushing, rushing, rushing. And then start to move your body towards the right so that you're side bending through your spine. And then slowly come back through center and bend the torso to the left with the arms overhead still, so you're side bending to the other side. And when you arrive, ask yourself what's happening now. What's happening with your breath and your body, your thoughts and your emotions. Then move your torso back center so that your whole body is in a straight line in the center of your mat. And you can begin to draw your right leg into your chest. If you have any knee issues, hold on behind your knee, or you can hold on your shin. Here we're going to press the leg into the ascending colon. So as I mentioned, elimination can be challenging for Vatas because their body tends to be so dry, externally on the skin and internally through the organs and the digestive tract. So doing postures that encourage elimination are great for Vatas. And then slowly release the right side. And draw the left leg in to the chest. And as you do the second side for the pose for elimination, ask yourself, what are you willing to let go of in your life? And then lower that leg down, and you can come to have both knees bent and draw both of them into your chest. You're going to take the arms into a soft T at shoulder height, and then lower both knees, looking over the right shoulder. So a nice reclined spinal twist to help bring to what can be a stiff spine for Vata types. Also a great pose to encourage elimination. And bring your legs it's really important for you to keep your pelvis perpendicular to the ground. So since I've got an assistant here today, I'm going to show this. So Jen's doing a good job of this. It could even be a little bit more up, but see how this is really straight through the back of the pelvis? The hip bones are stacked one on top of the other. And I'm a real stickler about this because it's for your SI joint, and anybody who's got loose SI joints, no, it's incredibly painful. So how are your SI joints? They're good, good. And actually, it's a funny thing, but vatas commonly have SI joint issues. So, and I have to say, in doing this class, it's becoming really clear to me that my constitution is very much Vata, Vata with Pitta. So we tend to be a combination of two. And I know Jen said to me, you're Pitta. With Vata. So yeah, that's how it tends to go. And then I think I have this perfect life because I married a Kapha. He just balances me right off. He's a Kapha Pitta, so we kind of balance each other really well. What would your husband be? Kapha. See? Perfect. Us yogis, we know how to find balance. Okay, bring yourself back to center and draw your knees into your chest. And if you're not sure of your dosha, you can always go online and search for a dosha quiz. I sent out a quiz through my newsletter, so if you missed that and you want to be on the newsletter, just send me an email to info@melissawest.com and I'll happily point you in the right direction for that. Okay, from here, slowly make your way up to all fours. We're going to continue to bring some mobility to the spine with cat pose here. So coming on to all fours with the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. And I want you to exhale and round your back up towards the sky for us, the ceiling maybe for you, and then inhale, lift the head and tail in the opposite direction. So exhaling, rounding, and inhaling, extending. And then what you could do if you'd like is add a little bit of movement to that. So as you round, you can shift back, and as you arch the back, you can shift forward. But let the movement be slow. The vatas tend to get overstimulated, so let's just slow things right down. And then walk to one side so that you're bending your spine sideways again. So I'll come with you then. And then we'll do the same thing here. So exhaling and rounding and inhaling and extending. So we'll just stay on one side and do it, yeah. Good. See, this is why it's good to have people on the show with you, because you realize where you're not giving good enough cues. And then come back center and walk to the other side. We'll just stay on this side now. And we'll do the rounding and extending here too. And you can do the shifting back too. Okay, and come back center. Let's take the right arm and open it up to the side, and then take it underneath your left arm, placing your right shoulder and the right side of your head on the ground so you're coming into a rotation. Okay, and then untwist from this side, and let's come into the twist on the other side as well. So taking that left arm up and bringing the left arm through.
I don't get that treatment too, I hope. No.
Okay, and then gradually come out of this side as well. Going to get you to stand on your knees and turn sideways on your mat. So let's take the, let's stand the same way and we'll mirror them. So let's take the right leg out to the side, and we'll take the arms straight up and overhead. Breathe in, lengthen that spine up nice and tall by lengthening down through the legs. Exhale, side bend over that right leg and open that left shoulder. And slowly come out on this side. I think it's just so perfect that the winds decided to join us on Vata Day. Gives us such a richer experience of Vata. Okay, let's take the left leg out to the side and let that foot come out just far enough that the hips can be level. So sometimes the one side of the hip can be really hiked, and that can be modified just by taking the foot out. And the toes facing front helps to square them off to the front as well. And then inhale, reach overhead. Breathe out and side bend over that left leg, open the right shoulder. So again, we're going for flexibility and mobility of the spine. Also a nice kind of added bonus to this side bending posture is that it lengthens the ascending and descending colon here, which helps to relax it to help it work more efficiently. And then come back to center, and I'll have you make your way to a standing position. In standing position, we'll practice postures that are grounding and balancing for vatas. So look down at your feet and spread your toes nice and wide. Let the inner edges of the feet be parallel. And see if you can feel the whole foot connecting to the ground. We should actually stand on the ground here. Yeah, that feels good. So if you're outside, you can stand on the ground, or if you're inside, you have wood floors, stand on the wood floor, but come to closer to natural than a yoga mat if you can. And so feet are parallel underneath your hips, and see how much of the bottom of your foot you can feel connecting to the earth. Toes, the balls of the feet behind the toes, the inner edge of the foot, the outer edge of the foot, the front of the heel and the back of the heel. And lengthen and root your legs down and allow the spine to float up. Now shift your weight onto one of those feet, and you can choose the other toes and knee out, and then place the sole of your foot on the inside of the supporting leg, and you can just choose where you want it to be on the inside of the leg. It could be above or below the knee, and then bring the hands to the heart and start to take them overhead for tree pose, another great grounding posture for vatas. And then slowly release that side. Let's shift onto the other foot. Lengthen that leg down into the ground. Let it be the rooting leg. The inside of the bottom of the foot on the opposite leg comes onto the inside of the rooting leg. And this time, choose where you want to place the foot. Of course, the higher you move it up the leg, the more challenging your balance is going to be. And then this side, choose what position you want to take your arms in. And it can be position that you want. And as we do this balancing posture, just ask yourself, how balanced do you feel right now in the pose? And also, how balanced do you feel in your life right now? Maybe even how balanced your constitution, whether it be Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, feels right now too. And then release that side. Let's stand on the back of our mats now. And we'll take a big generous step foot forward with the right foot. And bend that right knee so that it comes toward a 90-degree angle. Turn the hips so they face the front of the mat with the toes turning in. And then bring the arms straight up. So warrior one, a really great grounding posture. So Vatas sometimes have their heads in the clouds, and so it's good to come into poses like warrior one, where we can focus on taking action in the world. This pose always makes me think of Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual warrior, learning how to live with right action. And release this posture from your body towards the back of your mat again, and we'll do that on the other side. So take a big step forward with the left foot, right toes turn in, left knee bends, hips are facing straight ahead, lengthen that back, right leg long out of the hips, and then float the arms up. And then release the arms and step the feet together. I'll have you turn sideways on your mat and take your feet wide with your toes facing front. Just check the inner edges of the feet to see that they're parallel. And then hinge from your hips forward so you're coming into a wide legged standing forward fold. Now I'm going to get you to turn your right toe in and left toe to what might be the front or the back of your mat, depending. Bring your left hand over to the inside of your left leg, drop your left hip, and open your right arm up. And here, if you have a block, this would be a really great place to use a block. You can also, if you don't, lift and come up the leg as well. That would be fine too. So the reason why I chose Trikonasana pose is that, as I mentioned earlier, Vatas tend to have SI joint issues, and this is a great pose to strengthen the SI joint so it's not so movie. I am having a hard time finding my words today. Unstable. Yeah, the wind took them away. Okay, turn torso forward and turn both toes forward again. Fold forward. Now turn your right toe so it faces the other front of your mat. We'll just call it that. could be the back, I'm not sure. You're gonna walk over towards it, drop that hip bone, left hip, and lift the left up. So I feel inclined to tell you, in a posture perfect world like in Jen's body, the right hand is going to be by the foot, but see how for Jen that is right underneath her shoulders. And when I do this, maybe if I shorten my stance a bit, that may help too. But when I do this, if I put my hand on my shoulder, it's much further up along my leg, and so that would be more important than reaching here and creating poor alignment here, or coming up here. That would be better too. Okay, and then rotate the body forward again over that right leg. Turn your toes so they face front and come into one last standing forward fold. And then slowly make your way up to a standing position again. So now we're going to do an inversion, and vatas need inversions that are very grounding. So if you've worked with a teacher before and it's safe for you to do so, a headstand could be a great option here. But we're gonna do legs up a tree. Okay, so if you're at home, you can take your legs and place them up a wall. If you're outside, like us, you can find a tree. Isn't this a great way to do this pose? Yeah. It's kind of great. What kind of tree is this, do you know? I think it might be an elm. Yeah, I don't think it's an oak tree. Okay, so let your body settle in, and the thing that I really enjoy about legs up the wall is it's very grounding for the torso. Feels very grounded through the torso. From legs up the wall, you can bend your knees and roll to your side to come down, and I'll get you to come to lying on your belly on your mats. From your belly, place your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your tail under so the front of the pelvis is reaching into the ground. Roll the shoulders back and up. Breathe out. Breathe in. And lift the chest off the ground. So vatas are prone to kyphosis, that sort of rounding of the upper back, and it's important for them to do back bends that strengthen their back. But back bends like this one, like cobra, where you're connected to the ground and it's not too big, you're facing the ground still. So poses like wheel or camel that are really huge back bends are just too stimulating for vatas. So now you have a good excuse if you're a Vata not to do those poses. Okay, and slowly lower down. And let's just wiggle those hips from side to side as a counter pose. And then bring the hands down along the side of the body. We're going to do another gentle back bend facing the ground again. Roll the shoulders back and up. Bring the arms in line with the back. Tuck the tail under. Lengthen both legs off the ground and lift the chest off the ground. And then slowly lower. Take your hands under your shoulders. Push yourself up and back to sit back on your heels. Arms lengthening out long in front of you. Roll yourself up to a seated position and take your feet out straight in front of you. Bend the left leg in so the left foot's flat on the ground, and then you're going to cross it over the right leg. And I'll keep my right leg long, and Jen, you can show the version where you bring your right foot up to your left buttocks. Fabulous. And then wrap your right arm around your left leg. Take the left hand to the base of the spine and lengthen out. So either position is good. This one tends to be a bit more challenging, and if that left hip's really hiked up, then you want to really stay with the right leg long. Turn back center, uncross that left leg, lengthen it out. Slide the right leg in, cross the right leg over the body, wrap the left arm around the right leg. Oh yes, left leg can bend in, like Jen. Wrap your left arm around your right leg and turn toward it. Lengthen the spine up nice and tall. So this is another place where I get really kind of picky about the pelvis. And Jen's doing a really great job of it here too. A lot of people tend to do their poses, can you roll back, like tilt the pelvis back? Yeah, people do that. Yeah, a lot of people do this. Do you see your students doing that a lot? Yeah. So then that's what you want, straight up and down. And actually I noticed, I don't know, have you ever noticed even in Iyengar's book, he does all his twists like this. I know. Lightning's probably gonna shoot me down right now for saying that. Okay, come back center. Both legs are straight out in front of you. Now bend your right leg, open the right knee out to the side so the sole of the right foot's on the inside of the left leg. Inhale here, exhale, hinge forward from the hips, reach the heart forward to the shin. Good, and just let the hands rest on the ground. Great. So another really great thing that I'd like to point out that Jen's doing so nicely too is a nice straight spine. So show us what happens a lot in this pose. This kind of rounded thing in an attempt to get to the leg. So I promise you it's not instant enlightenment when your forehead hits your shin. It might be, but it's definitely not guaranteed. So you can just be where you are, and you know, that can be a good question too, especially for pitta types. We'll see next week are very ambitious people. So just check in with your ambition level in your forward fold here. And notice what it's like maybe to be a little less ambitious in this pose if you're feeling anxious about getting further. Breathe in and come back up to a seated position and switch legs. So nice big breath in, breathe out, hinge forward through the hips. Good. Forward folding here. And inhale, come straight back up. Take both legs out long in front of you. Lift and move the flesh out of the way at the back so the pelvis tips forward nice and easily. And then you can exhale and hinge forward here. This is a great pose to have to lift your pelvis a bit with either pillows or a bolster or sitting up on a block. And you can fold forward here. So just check in to the point that you've chosen to come to. Is it too much? Do you need to back off a little bit? Is it too little? Do you need to come in a little bit more? And see if you can come to a place that feels just right, where there's a good amount of stretch, but not so much that it's, you know, gonna hurt you, or not so little that there's nothing going on. And inhaling, come up to seated. So the great thing if you're a Vata is that you need a really long shavasana. So today we are going to reward you with a 15-minute shavasana by Lake Ontario here. So go ahead and rest back. So as you rest back in shavasana, reflect back on the practice in your experience today. What stands out to you as most significant? And then what's the connection between that significance and the rest of your life? How does that thing show up or not show up in your life? And then begin to create an intention around how you'll carry that awareness with you out into the week this week. Bring your awareness to your body on the ground, the room around you, the sounds in the room. And then slowly bend your knees, wiggle and stretch a little bit, and make your way up to a seated position. Thanks for coming, Jen. Body balance, body wellness. Body balance wellness. See, I'm a Vata. She told me I was lying in shavasana the whole time, trying to remember correctly. And the website is yourbodybalancedwellness.ca. So no. Balance.ca. We'll roll it on the credits so you can get it for sure right then. Actually, it works in your favor that I messed that up enough times. We keep talking about Jen. So thank you so much for joining us. And I want to just again give a great big huge thanks to David Frawley, whose work I'm drawing from heavily for this series of classes. His book, Yoga and Ayurveda, is a fantastic book, and if you listen to my radio show, I've interviewed him twice. He's a fabulous, fabulous teacher, and I highly recommend you check those shows out in the archive as well. So thank you so much for being with us this week. Namaste.